Welcome to the Mom Self-Care Podcast, your safe space to finally focus on YOU. I'm Chari Twitty-Hawkins, your self-care coach for moms, praying wife, and mom of four. And I know that being a Christ-centered mom is such a beautiful calling, but it can be so draining. That's why it's important to make sure you are filling your own cup. On this podcast, we'll discuss practical, holistic self-care strategies to help nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Because a mama who fills her own cup pours that back into her family with true peace and joy. Tune in for honest conversations about motherhood and self-care because you matter too. Blessings, mamas, and welcome to the Mom Self-Care Podcast. I am Chari Twitty-Hawkins, your host and self-care coach for moms. And today I'm going to be talking about overcoming decision fatigue. Now, you may not have ever heard of this, but it is just think about as a mom, all the decisions you have to make every day. I see on TikTok and Instagram how moms just really have what they call the mental load of motherhood. One part of that is decision fatigue because we are thinking about and trying to make decisions on so many things. So we're going to talk about how to recognize that every day and how to take steps to intentionally get out of that cycle because it's crazy. Decision fatigue is the mental exhaustion that people have from making too many decisions in a day. And we know as moms, we're thinking about things such as your family schedule, your own schedule, maybe cleaning your house, work, whether you work inside of the home, outside of the home. It's so many different things you're thinking about. You may be thinking about what are they going to wear? Oh, they have to go to practice. There's so many. Just think about it. All the things you think about in a day, you would just be like, wow. This is crazy. And it can lead to burnout because you are focused on those things, especially if you're doing things like constantly making last minute decisions, which means last minute actions, which just can drive you crazy. Some of the symptoms of decision fatigue are irritability, second guessing yourself, procrastinating, and just really sometimes making poor choices. And that's because you are exhausted mentally. So you're not thinking at your best. Just imagine if you've been running around all day, then at the end of the day, you're not going to be at your best because you've been doing so many things. You're not going to be at your best physically or emotionally. So it's important to start thinking about, hey, am I going through this every day? Is this a constant thing for me? So think about in your life when you make certain choices, think about how you react mentally and physically. Like for me, I used to, when I thought about cooking, because I cook for my family, I do because I have to. But to be honest, I don't like to cook. But I used to just have kind of like a dread towards it. But I decided, hey, and this is something you can do as well. I know you guys have heard of meal prepping. I have done that. You can start meal prepping. So preparing your meals ahead of time. Or if you're like, I really want to do that, but I just don't have, an hour or 2 hours to set aside, which seems like you would because you spend that amount of time during the week, right? It's just chopped up. But you're like, I don't have an hour to 3 hours to sit and prep. Just prep some sides. Like let's say, for instance, your your family eats a lot of broccoli or a lot of green beans or carrots or potatoes, whatever it is, whatever a side is, or a protein or a carb, choose one that you know that you prepare during the week a lot and start prepping that ahead of time. So instead of making just enough for that night, make enough for 3 nights. And then you can come home and say, oh, okay, if you made your chicken, you could say, okay, all I got to do is make some rice, potatoes, quinoa, whatever your side is going to be. And then decide on your fruit or vegetable. What's that going to be? That is so much easier. It helps a lot. You don't have to decide, oh my gosh, what meat am I going to cook tonight? Or what carb or what vegetable? Because it's already done. But something that I did that has helped me a lot, so much, is to start doing themed nights. So, for instance, on Mondays, we have burgers. Tuesdays, it's like taco, either taco, what did my husband call it? I want to say he called it Mexican Tuesday, something like that. But we have either nachos, tacos, or burritos. Wednesdays, we have wings. My kids love Wing Wednesdays. So, just like that. So, when I'm shopping, I already have in my mind when I'm doing my online orders, because that's, oh, yes, please do online orders, curbside pickup. It helps so much. But as I'm doing that, I already have that in mind that this is what we're going to eat. Now, do I is every day done perfectly? The theme day? No, not necessarily, but it helps a lot. So even if for whatever reason, if I didn't go grocery shopping for that day, I'm not running in the store to my okay, what let's see, what do I need to no, I already know. Okay, it's Tuesday. We supposed to have either this, or this. What will be the easiest? For me, it's nachos. So I get my ground turkey and get all the things that we need for our nachos, the lettuce, tomatoes, salsa. So that helps me not have to make a decision because I already know this is what I'm going to do. So that is something you can try doing that will help so much. Like either meal prepping, like I said, meals ahead of time, a part of the meals and or planning saying, hey, this day of each week, we're going to eat this. And like I said, it doesn't have to be one thing. Like for Mondays, we do burgers. Sometimes it's ground turkey. Sometimes it's chicken burgers. Sometimes it's chicken filet. Like I get chicken breasts and I cut them and I cook them. And then we have that. Or sometimes I get the ground chicken, to mix it up a little bit. But still, I don't have that stress or that worry that I had before attached to, oh my gosh, got to make sure my kids have something to eat. Or with my snacks, I like to have a snack in the car when I pick up my kids. So I used to, because I work from home, as you can see, and I would work and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the clock. Okay. I need to go make them a snack. Okay, what snack am I going to make? But now I have in mind like two or three choices that I give them. So I don't have to worry about that. My decision is okay, they had yogurt yesterday with granola and some nuts. Okay, today we're going to have popcorn with whatever it is I add with that. And so it's alternating and it's so much less stress. Since I'm setting boundaries, and that's something else you need to do, set boundaries. I say, okay, we not Cherry, stop working till the last minute and then getting up and trying to go make a snack because there's added stress. So I'm either making snack ahead of time or I'm stopping at least 10, 15 minutes before that so I can make their snack and then head out the door instead of rushing out the door because I'm waiting to the last minute. And another thing that will help you with decision fatigue is creating daily routines. So, for instance, when you wake up, what are you going to do during the day or during the morning? When you go to sleep, what are you going to do? What are your kids going to do? That has been so helpful. When I wake up, I pray. Then I listen to a devotional while I go in the bathroom, do my little face routine. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, the rest of my day goes. And then at night, and I'm working on my night routine. That's something I really have to work on. But if at night you say, hey, I'm going to read for 5, 10 minutes, then I'm going to go close my kitchen. That I'm proud of myself. I tell y'all to pat yourselves on the back. I'm so proud of myself. I've been doing good with closing the kitchen. Now, do I close it the same? Like, do I get everything every night? No, but it's about doing it. It's not about being perfect. Remember, there's no perfect moms. So saying to yourself, what am I going to do? Am I going to read a little bit, go close the kitchen, do some stretching? That's what I was doing. I need to start back doing that. And that was just helped me release so much stress before I went to bed. But if you have something like that where you're saying, again, you don't have to make the decision because you've already said with my nightly routine, I'm going to start doing this, and this. Or when the kids are going to bed, this, and this. We're going to start doing this. Family events. What are we going to start doing monthly, weekly? Instead of, oh no, we haven't spent any time together. We need to figure it out. We need to look up. Again, that anxiety, stress, overwhelm. So you want to avoid that by sitting down with yourself. If it's just you, if you're married with your husband and saying, what is it that we need to plan out so that you're making the decision then ahead of time. And again, like I said, it can be a theme thing. It can be, well, summer's pretty much over, but like once a month we're gonna go to the beach. We're gonna go to the movies. We're gonna do this. We did at home movie night with the whole family, and that was so nice. We rented a movie online. I bought these little popcorn reusable popcorn plastic containers and all of that. It was really, really nice. So I'm thinking I want to incorporate doing that probably like once a month. So that's just another example of something you can say, hey, I don't have to make the decision. The only decision you might have to make is the movie. But again, you're not last minute because you know how life can get. Maybe if y'all plan every Sunday to spend time together, or every Saturday, and it's Friday night and you are wore out, and then you think, oh no, you're not going to make the best decision, or you're not going to make it because you have decision fatigue. And you make your best decisions during the morning, during the early day. So it's good to make those decisions then rather than, as the day goes by and you get tired. That's how you end up getting fast food you don't need to get, buying things you don't need to buy because you are just wore out and you're like, I just need to get it done. Right? You're just like, I just need to get it done. So we want to avoid that. Even though it's going to happen sometimes, we just don't want it to be normal. And another thing you can do, which I've talked about a lot, is delegate. Delegate some of your tasks, the things that need to be decided on. Let somebody else decide. Okay. Like me and my husband, we kind of like we do weekly day dates because that works best for us. And that's awesome because, everything's different for everybody. But it's like sometimes he decides what we're going to eat. And then sometimes I decide. It used to be mostly him, but now we're working on, rotating it. So he's not, from his perspective, he's not always doing the deciding. And then from my perspective, I'm showing up and being more active and intentional. And something else, I encourage you guys to embrace your imperfections. Like I talked about, there's no perfect moms, there's no perfect anything unless it's Jesus and God. You know what I mean? So it's not us. So embrace imperfections. For instance, like I talked about the meal theme days. Some days it's just not happening. So one day I had I made some rice. I grilled up some ground turkey. I forgot what vegetables I added. I want to say I added some green bell peppers and mushrooms, something like that. And I was like, well, I hope they like this. So I was like tired. Why my kids was like, mommy, this is so good. This is delicious. So while I could have been beating myself up saying I can't believe I don't have whatever was supposed to be cooked for that day and feeling mom guilt and all of that. Even though I did feel, a little tiny bit of it because I was irritated because of the day. But just the fact that my kids were so appreciative and talked about how it was so good just lets you know sometimes good enough is enough. As a matter of fact, a lot of times, good enough is enough. So show yourself grace. If you wanted to go to the movies and the movie is sold out or somebody's not feeling well, don't worry about that. Improvise, do movie night at home like we did. So release that pressure of, oh my gosh, we're supposed to do this. What am I going to do now? What are we going to do now? Just improvise and do something else. It's okay. Because very often and y'all know this, if you don't, you'll find it out when you're criticizing yourself as a mom and having all these negative thoughts, like I talked about with the food. Your kids are having the times of their life or they're enjoying themselves. They're making memories, what you call core memories, while we're over there thinking the wrong stuff. So when you are thinking about decision fatigue and all the decisions you have to make, I'm going to encourage you to really sit down. I often say this, y'all know I'm going to say it. Where's my pen? Write it down. Write down. When I asked you earlier to think about how you feel when you make certain decisions, do you feel anxiety? Do you feel overwhelmed? I want you to write those decisions down and write down how they make you feel. So for me, one of them, like I talked about, was cooking, having food ready for your family. And then how does that make you feel? Feel anxiety, stress, sometimes dread. So write those things down and then pray and ask God to show you how to overcome those. Of course, I've given you some examples of things you can do, but also pray and ask God to guide you daily. to overcome those things. After you sit and write those things down, then pick one, because you may be listening, you're like, I'm already overwhelmed. Pick one decision that you're like, it's always stressful. Picking the kids' clothes out, having them do their chores, whatever that is. And then decide, how am I going to start creating a routine for this? And pray and God, ask God to show you, because things work different for different people. Like, some people don't have their kids do chores during the week. We do. But you decide what works for you. Pray and ask God, what do I need to start doing in the morning? I used to pray at night. I still pray at night sometimes, but my routine is to pray in the morning, because I know I'm not a morning person. I don't like getting up early in the morning. That's just me being honest. But praying changes my perspective a lot. So that's something that I added to my routine that has helped me so much. So I encourage you to do the same. Write down those decisions that are draining you, that are frustrating to you, that are triggering to you. Write down how they make you feel. And then pray and ask God to show you one decision you need to work on for this week. Approaching it and thinking about it and taking action on it in a different way. And it can be something so simple. Nothing is too small, especially if it's overwhelming you or triggering you. It's not too small, because we often think, oh, I can't worry about that. No, if it's frustrating you, irritating you, overwhelming you, it's not too small, and you do need to be concerned and address it. And then at the end of the week, after you have started to shift your mindset and to take a different action on that decision, like maybe on Sunday or Saturday, really look at how differently you felt. Did you feel lighter? Did you feel less stressed? And if you did, so awesome. Now, I'm not saying to expect miracles in a week, because it may take a month, but just being aware of, hey, I see change happening. This is good. So make sure you reflect back at the end of the week. And just remember, all the decisions you have been making, you do not have to continue to make them over and over. Create a routine, set boundaries, delegate. It will help you so much. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining me today for the Mom Self-Care Podcast. Don't forget to save this episode, share with the mama you love, and leave a review if you enjoyed it too. Until next time, take care. God bless. Thanks so much for joining me for the Mom Self-Care Podcast. I hope you feel inspired to make yourself a priority too. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Share this podcast with another mama you love and leave a review. Also, feel free to let me know what you would like to hear about in future episodes by visiting me on Instagram at CIC Inspire Me. Until next time, take some time to take care of YOU, because you matter too.